Hi everyone, welcome back to System Verilog Test Bench Development sessions. So in these sessions we are going to write a code on System Verilog Test Bench components like generator, driver, transaction, everything. Right? So in the previous sessions we have already discussed about how to write a code on test bench tops, like what are the things that you can include in the test bench top code, and what are the things that you can add in order to enhance your code extra. In this way we have discussed everything, like, and in the other session we have discussed about how to develop a transaction code, like how to develop a transaction class, what are the things that we need in the transaction class, and so everything related to transaction. Right, in today's video we are going to discuss about generator class, like what are the things that we will be including in the generator class, what are the mandatory things that are required to develop a generator class, what are the extra features that you can add in order to enhance your code, like all these things about the generator class we are going to discuss in today's video. And before going to today's video, if you are new to this channel, consider subscribing this channel and hit on the notification bell. Also follow me on LinkedIn, and you can join my Telegram channel where I'll be providing the courseware related to these courses, and also I'll be forwarding some news related to internships and job opportunities on design and verification domain which I encounter in my LinkedIn profile. So please do check the description box in order to know about everything related to my Telegram channel. And so coming to today's session we are going to talk about generator. So before going into generator class, let us just have a brief recap on test bench sorry transaction class, like test bench top we have already discussed in the previous session recap. So coming to transaction class, so transaction class is nothing but it will be including the fields that are required in order to generate the stimulus. So stimulus is nothing but of course packets of data. So in order to send that packets of data from generator to driver and everything, what are the fields that are required in order to generate the stimulus. So in order to put it in simple words, basically the input and output signals that you include in your RTL code, so those are the fields that you will be writing in your transaction class. Okay, all the inputs and output signals. And also in order to do randomization on this class, on the particular fields like inputs, you will be using a rand keyword. Basically rand is only used for input fields but not the output field, because output is thing that shouldn't be randomized, but input signals can be randomized, so that is why you will be putting the rand keyword. Right, so these are the things. So basically all the input and output signals will be included in the transaction class. Along with it, if you want to display all those input and output signals, you will be writing a function display. And if you want to add any other variables within that display function, then you will be including it in the form of argument in the function. Right, so this is the thing that you will be writing in your transaction class. So these are the general things that you will be writing in the transaction class. Apart from these, what can you include? So basically if you want to put some limitations on the fields like input signals like A and B, if you want to put some limitations, then you can, because these are randomized. Okay, so if you want to put that limitation on the randomization, then you can include some constraints here. Okay, by which you can put the limitation on the randomization of these input signals like A and B. So you can write constraints here. It is optional. Okay, so in order to, as I told you, you can add this in order to improvise your code. Right, so this is the thing that is present in transaction class. Now coming to generator, what are the things basically that are needed in the generator? First let us see what are the mandatory things that are needed in the generator before writing the code of the generator. Now first if you see, the generator of course need a transaction. So this is the first thing that the generator needs, the transaction class. Okay, so apart from transaction, so what does the generator do? The generator will be putting this transaction into driver. Is it or not? That means it is sending the transaction class, transaction based stimulus from generator to driver. So of course it needs some component which will be transferring the stimulus from generator to driver. So in system verilog, what does the mailbox do? Of course you know. So mailbox is the component which is used in order to transfer data from one component to another component, either mailbox or semaphore, both, but basically we'll be using the mailbox, right? So the mailbox, in order to transfer the data from, transfer the stimulus from generator to driver, right? So this is the mailbox that you need. And apart from these two, you will be using the events. So basically, what are the, why do we need events? In order to know whether the event has started, when the event has started, whether the event has ended, in order to know. So what are the events here? If you see, the transaction will be generating the stimulus, is it or not? So this stimulus will be transferred from generator to driver. So there are number of stimulus, is it or not? So there are number of packets of data. So whether all the packets of data has been sent from generator to driver, so that is the event. So we can include whether the transaction has been completed from generator to driver, that is told by you by the event. Okay, so this is how we'll be using the event. So these are the three mandatory things that you will be using in your generator code. The first thing is transaction, second thing is mailbox, and the third thing is events, right? So apart from this, what are the extra features that you will be adding in your generator code in order to enhance your code? That also we'll be seeing in today's video, right? So these are the things. Now coming to mailbox. Okay, so transaction you have already discussed about it, and events I told you that only thing is, in order to transfer, in order to know whether the transfer from generator to driver is done or not, you will be using the events. Now coming to mailbox. So basically, mailbox is not the only thing that is used by generator, because if you see, the generator needs mailbox in order to send the data from generator to driver. That means the generator needs the mailbox. Now the driver also will be needing the mailbox. Why? Because it needs to get the information from generator. The generator needs to give the data, the driver needs to get the data, right? So that is why driver also need the mailbox. Now similarly, if you see, there are only two components, okay, but you are having some other components in your SP architecture like monitor, scoreboard, is it or not? So all these components also requires mailbox. Why? Because monitor requires mailbox in order to get the output from DUT, right? So again, monitor will be giving the same to output from monitor to scoreboard. So scoreboards also need the mailbox. So in this way, all these components will be needing the mailbox. So this mailbox is shared among all these components. So since the mailbox is shared among all these components, then where it is created, okay, that means these are all sharing it, they are not creating it. So where is the place that it is created? It is created in the mailbox, is created in the environment class. So this environments create the mailbox which is shared among all these components. Okay, so we are getting the handle, we are getting that mailbox from environment, and the generator is getting the mailbox from environment, again from driver. For driver also it is getting from it. So all these components are using the mailbox which is created in the environment, that you should remember. So with whatever name that you have created the mailbox in the environment, with that same name you have to use it in the remaining components also, that you should remember. Hope you are clear about this mailbox, right? So these are the three things that you should remember. Now coming to how to write a generator code. As we have discussed what are the things that are required for writing a generator, so let us write one by one, like what are the things that are required. So the first thing is, you will be writing the class, right? So this is class based, of course. So class generator, right? So this is my class. Now as I told you, the first thing that I need is transaction. So of course I will be using the transaction. So the same name that I have created, because I'm using the transaction class here, so I need to use it with the same name that I have created with this class. Okay, so the same thing, the transaction class. Okay, so in order to use the transaction class here, what I'll be using, I'll be creating the handle for the transaction class. Okay, so transaction trans, clear? So this is the handle for my transaction class. Now, as we discussed in the before, that the transaction needs to be randomized, because the random stimulus will be generated by the generator and it will be sent to the driver. So the generator needs to generate the random stimulus, not the normal stimulus. It needs to generate the random stimulus. So how to generate this random stimulus? In order to make the trans randomized, so you will be using the ran keyword. Clear? So the transaction need to be randomized. So ran, transaction, trans. So along with this, what is the second thing that you need? You will be needing a mailbox. So this mailbox, as I told you, you will be creating the mailbox in the generator itself. So with the same name you will be using the mailbox here. So mailbox, okay. So what is the mailbox name? Let us consider it as Gen2 drive. This is the mailbox that I have created in the generator. In order to transfer the data from generator to driver, I have created it with Gen2 drive name. Okay, for example, so that it will be used understood by everyone, right? So this is how I am declaring the mailbox. I have created in the environment. Now I am just bringing that with the handle. Okay, mailbox Gen2 drive handle, right? So this is the thing. Now apart from this, what is the thing that we have created? Event. Okay, event, okay, with any name. For example, let us write it as end. Okay, so these are the three things that are the that we need to consider. So transaction ran and mailbox Gen2 drive and then event end, right? So now since we have declared the mailbox here, we need to use the constructor function in order to create the, like, in order to bring the handle, right? So function, I think you know about how to use the constructor function, right? Function new. Okay, so this is the constructor function. Like mailbox, for mailbox I am creating the constructor function Gen2 drive. Okay, this is the name of my mailbox, right? So this is my construction function. So I think you know how to write a constructor function. This dot Gen2 drive equal to Gen2 drive. Now what happens if you are writing the this function, if you are using the this function here, what is happening? Now getting the mailbox handle from the environment. Now if you see here, this is the handle that is present in environment. So from there, whatever that is there in the environment handle, I am putting that in this particular generator mailbox. Okay, so nothing but I am bringing that the both mailbox, the both environment mailbox and the generator mailbox together. Okay, so I have declared the mailbox with handle and I am generating a constructor function in order to bring together this environment mailbox and generator mailbox. Okay, so this is the handle of my environment mailbox, this is the handle of my generator mailbox. Okay, so I am making everything together here, right? So this is how you will be writing the constructor function. If you don't know how to write a constructor function, I have explained clearly in the particular video. I'll link that in the description box so that you can go there and check it out, right? So in this way I have created the constructor function. Now one function has been created, that means mailbox constructor function has been created. Now what is the next thing that you will be doing? Finally you will be writing a main task. So you will be writing it in the main task. Okay, so basically whatever logic that you are used in order to randomization, in order to write the actual logic, you will be mainly using the tasks, not functions, because functions are having some backlogs, like you can't use events in it, or you can't use non-blocking assignments. Similarly you can't use any delays. So that is why mostly the main functions within the system verilog code, you will be writing everything in the tasks itself, right? So what is the what is the main task? First you will be creating the handle transaction equal to new. Okay, so you will be creating the new function for my transaction, because what you need to do in the generator, you need to randomize the transaction and you need to send the transaction. So that is your main aim. So the main aim comes in the task main. Okay, so the main aim is to generate the random stimulus, okay, and then send that random stimulus to driver. So that is your work, right? So this is the thing I am going to write it in the logic format in my task main. Okay, so how to generate a random stimulus? Of course, in order to generate the random stimulus, you need to create the new function for that particular randomization, sorry, transaction, right? So transaction equal to new. So after creating the transaction, then what can you do? You will just write trans dot randomize. So by using this, you can just randomize it. Okay, by using this function, you will be randomizing trans equal to new and trans dot randomize. So you have created the new function and then you are randomizing that particular trans dot randomize, right? So after randomizing, now what you have to do after okay, first thing is done, that is this work is done. Now you have to send it to driver. How you are going to send it? So for that particular sending, you need to, what you need to do, what is the, how do you send it? With the mailbox. So what is the name of the mailbox? Gen to drive, sorry, drive. Okay, gen to drive dot, how you will be doing, put, what you will be putting? You will be putting the transaction. So what is the handle? TRANS. Okay, so this is how you will be putting the transaction, and then end. Okay, so this is how you will be writing the function. And then here if you see task main, okay, so transaction, after this you will be using the begin and then end. Okay, right, clear? So transaction equal to new, begin and end. Now coming to, so the event has completed. Why? Because it is over, right? So the event is completed. So since the event is completed, you will be using end. So basically end is a keyword, so that is why you can't use end as a name here. So you can use as ended or end, nd or like that. So the event has ended. So in order to declare that the event has ended, what you will be doing? You will be writing it in the arrow mark. So this indicates that the event, this is event, and that it has ended. So now the event ended will be coming here. That means the event is completed here. So finally the event has ended. So of course it is end task and then end module. Sorry, end class. Right? So this is how you will be writing your code. Clear? So I'll be explaining one more time here. So this is my class, generator class. So first you need three things, which are transaction, mailbox and event. So transaction, mailbox and event. So you need to create a constructor function in order to bring the environment mailbox and generator mailbox together. So I am creating the constructor function for my mailbox. Now what is our main motto here? In order to generate the random stimulus and send it to driver. So in order to generate the stimulus, first I need to create the new function for my particular transaction. Okay, after creating the transaction, I'll be beginning my code, which is I'll be randomizing the transaction. So after randomizing the transaction, I will be using the gen to drive dot put. So after randomizing it, I'll be putting it in the transaction and then end, and then I will be ending event. So this is the thing that is happening after entire randomization and after putting is happening, then the event has ended. So I'll be using the event here and then end task, end class. So these are the things that you mandatorily need in your environment code. Now, so what are the enhanced features? Like what are the things you can add in this particular code in order to make it more pleasable, right? So what are the things that you can add here is basically, right, you can add an extra variable here. Okay, apart from this transaction generator and apart from this transaction mailbox and ended, you can add an extra variable like in repeat count. Okay, so by using this extra variable, so what is the need of this extra variable is basically in order to specify the number of items that are generated. So basically here you will be generating the stimulus. Okay, since you, for example, my input is 3 down to 0, so you are having 2 power 4, which are 16 different packets of data, right? So this 16 different packets of data is generated. Okay, so after generating one packet of data, you need to repeat it. Similarly, after generating another packet of data, you need to repeat it. So in this way, in order to know how many packets are generated by the driver, how many packets are sent from driver to from generator to driver, so all these things, in order to have control or in order to have count on how many packets are being generated, you will be using this int repeat count. You will be using this extra variable in order to have a count on what are the packets that are being generated. So where do you use this repeat count? Okay, you have generated, you have created it, then you need to, where do you need to add it? Of course, you need to add it before transaction, because if you see here, after creating before creating this, if you are adding the repeat, this repeat count, then what happens? Okay, so before, if you are adding this repeat count and if you are beginning it here, now what happens? Now this entire, since you are using the repeat keyword, so this repeat count, if you are randomizing it, it will be randomized only once. That means only one stimulus is generated. Now if you are using the repeat count and if you have given the repeat count value as some 10, now what happens? This particular transaction will be generated for 10 different random packets will be generated. Okay, because you are using a repeat, so 10 times this particular loop will be running and 10 packets will be generated. And then, since you are using, for example, if you don't want 10 packets and you want 5 packets, then instead of going here and instead of giving it, like if you are giving repeat 5, then 5 packets are generated. Repeat 6, 6 packets are generated. But if you want to if you don't want to go inside this task and if you don't want to change there, then if you are just using the variable repeat count, then by using this particular variable in any component, like from from driver or from any place also, you can change this repeat count value. Clear? So this is the one more enhancement in your code. Okay, like repeat count, you can add this variable and you can have control on how many packets are being generated, right? In order to count how many packets are being generated and all, right? So this is the one enhancement. Now another enhancement is, here you can just write trans dot randomize. That means you can either randomize it like this, or if you see in other codes, there is a way in order to write this particular trans dot randomize. Okay, I think if you have seen that code, you will be having confusion on that. Okay, so that is like, basically, instead of writing whether directly as trans dot randomize, okay, if you are just writing as trans dot randomize, then what happens? If randomization is done, well and good, it is randomized. If there is no randomization, then it will show you some it doesn't show you anything, that it will be saying that randomization is not done. Okay, but it does, even though the randomization is not done due to some any other errors also, you don't find the message that the randomization is not done. So basically what everyone do, instead of this trans dot randomize, what they will do is, you will be writing a condition like, if trans dot randomize, if not trans dot randomize, that means if randomization is done, it's fine. Okay, if not trans dot randomize, then it will be giving you the dollar fatal. Okay, so dollar fatal generator equal to some, you can write anything like transaction randomization has failed. Okay, so if you have written a code in this way, now what happens? Okay, you don't need to write any else code, because basically if this is not happen, obviously randomized trans dot randomization will be happen. Okay, if not 0, that means only 1 is the answer, right? Similarly, if not trans dot randomize, then obviously the trans dot randomize will be happening. But if there is not dot, that means if transformation is not happening, then you will get a message that transaction randomization has not done. Okay, so you can write it in this way. Either that doesn't mean you don't know, or you shouldn't write in this way. You can either write it in this way, or you can write it in this way. This is one more enhancement. Clear? Right? So this is about how to write a generator code. Hope you got an idea on how to write a generator code, right? So that is all for today, and if you like this video, please do like it and also share it to all the VLSI aspirants. That is all. Thank you.